What's good, everyone? This is Artist of Truth coming to you with another vlog entry on this wonderful, magnificent, and prosperous Tuesday afternoon. This is a little after, probably a little after 12 right now. Decided to take a break from my job so I can drop you off another vlog for today. As always, I hope that you all are having the most productive and positive day possible. Keep in mind, your joy and happiness belongs solely unto you. Do not allow anyone to take away your joy and happiness, because if so, you are giving them the power, and the power should always remain with you. So on that note, let's roll into a continuation from policing the police. Now, let me just put this out there. I understand and I respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how shallow-minded the comment just might be. So, policing the police. I had, my thing is this. I understand you have good people in the world and then you have bad people in the world. All right. But one thing that you cannot ignore is police officers whom are abusing their authority. Now, keep in mind, you have to be living under a rock, or you just have to be a strong advocate and supporter of police officers to not recognize that you have some very, very mentally challenged, racist, white supremacist police officers out there, that are just abusing, they're abusing their power, abusing their authority. If you believe at any point in your life, if you believe that, there are no bad cops out there, people are just people are just wanting a reason to be against police officers. Look, let me just say this for those people out there. Everyone doesn't want to be against police officers, overseers. Or let me fix that. Everyone is not wanting to be against police officers. We want to be against overseers, but we don't want to be against police officers. My thing is this: if you're doing your job and you're doing your job in the way that you are trained, that you are taught to do it, then people wouldn't have an issue. But this is my thing, and me personally, I do a comparison. I like doing comparison on certain things. We all have rights. I'll give you a prime example. You have gun owners. They have the right to bear arms. They have the right to have a concealed weapon. That is their right. So if you haven't violated any statutes, any codes, any sort of laws, if you haven't violated any law whatsoever, but someone comes in and takes and confiscates your weapon, are you just going to let them go ahead and confiscate your weapon? Or are you going to exercise your God-given right to retrieve your weapon back? I don't know of any gun owners whom are operating and abiding by the codes, by the statutes, by the laws. I don't know of any gun owner who is actually going to forfeit his or her right to possess that firearm and allow someone to just violate their rights. So, for the gentleman that I've been having this short dialect with from my previous video, Policing the Police Part 1, my thing is this. I have my facts straight. I'm just not putting it all out there. I'm not. Secondly, I don't know what state this individual resides in. Frankly speaking, I'm not even sure that he is fully aware of the duties of a police officer. See, the only difference is I read to understand and to know. So my rights, as I stated before, when my rights are violated, I would be a weak individual not to exercise my rights. I would be a weak individual. My thing is, what is the purpose of having rights if you're not going to exercise them? I said it before. What is the purpose of having rights and you're not exercising them? Moreover, let me put it like this. And this same, if I can recall the quote, because it's actually a quote from a former judge that stated, if you are not exercising your right, who am I to exercise your right for you? If you are unknowing of the law, that does not exclude you from the law. Okay? If you're ignorant to the law, I'm not taking empathy whatsoever. I'm not going to say, well, you don't understand the law, you don't know the law. Well, I'm not going to drop this hammer on you. I'm not going to do that. No. It's all about what you can prove. And what I can prove is in black and white. What I can prove has been incorporated in the law, and the verbiage, I should say, the wordplay, the verbiage of it has been placed in such a way that you can read it, but you'll never understand it. See, that's the catch. And a lot of people, they feel like, oh, well, if none of that would have happened, if you would have just complied. And my thing is, you've had men and women. Not only that, you've had children who have complied, and they have died behind complying. But yet and still, some people feel as though I am advocating hatred and against police officers. If you're doing your goddamn job, there wouldn't be a need to advocate against police officers. This is the thing. If police officers were fair and they were doing their job and they were not abusing their power, they were not planting guns and drugs on people, there wouldn't be a reason for us to advocate against, it wouldn't be a reason for us to speak negatively against police officers. Again, if you have police officers that were policing other police officers, and what I mean by that, when you see your partner doing something that doesn't go by the code book, okay? Now I understand there's a police code book, a very, very thick police code book. And for the gentleman that was, that I'm having an open dialogue with, again, if you read for yourself, then you know. But of course, everyone doesn't read, this gentleman, he was talking to me about, well, from my experiences. I was like, you know what? If you're not going to talk about your experiences, don't bring it up. I'm just being fair. Don't talk about your experiences if you're not going to shed light on it. I'm bringing my experiences to the light. You can agree to disagree, but the majority of the people that exist, the majority of the people who are watching YouTube videos like mine and others, they have a clear, concise understanding because they've experienced it. They've experienced being, having their rights violated. A loved one has been probably falsely incarcerated behind a police officer not doing his job. But, my thing is, this happens, but we're, those of us who have been remotely affected or known, or we're close to someone who has been remotely affected by a dirty cop. Yes, we're advocating for that. My thing is, what are you expecting us to do? Just sit around and just take whatever? I'm like, that's what cowards do. This is another reason why the government corporation takes advantage of people the way it does. But again, if you read, then you'll know. But if you're not applying yourself, you're not looking for the answers to gain an understanding of certain things, then you're just talking out your ass. You know what I'm saying? You're just totally and completely talking out of your ass. And, in regards to the gentleman that I'm having an open dialogue with, look, I don't know whatever your experiences is. I'm sort of sensing that we got cops watching. I wouldn't be one bit surprised if that's an officer, because he has yet to admit that, hey, you do have some dirty cops. You can't tell me dirty cops don't exist. You can't. And as far as the good cops, my thing is, good cops do their job. Good cops are fair. Good cops are not abusing their authority. But also, good cops will give you the insight. So it makes their job easier. It makes their job easier. Now, where I'm at, I don't have a whole lot of issues. Where I work, I don't have a whole lot of issues with cops. A lot of the officers that I come across, they are of my complexion. They are of my ethnicity. So they don't have a problem with, telling you the ins and outs at all. They really don't. And I respect that. I respect them, and what they're doing, because they're not out trying to abuse their power. They're not trying to manipulate and take advantage of people. They are fair. But also, let's just be realistic. You do have dirty cops out there, and until we come up with a solution on combating a lot of this, a lot of these discrepancies, I feel personally that we need to make ourselves more familiarized with the law and how it operates. The very, very first time that you take out the necessary, you take the initiative to educate yourself, enlighten yourself, others as well, and you can read and have an understanding of how the law operates, and your rights, believe me, there's a whole lot of changes that can be made. As I stated before, I've already went to court. The solicitor did not like me, not at all. The solicitor didn't like me. The judge, he was very, very tight-lipped. Why? It's because I came in and I had little, next to nothing to say. The paperwork, the instruments had been submitted. So when they saw it, they already knew the type of individual they were dealing with. Again, if you don't read and you don't apply yourself, you'll end up being a follower, just like the gentleman that I'm having an open dialogue with. So by all means, do not get discouraged, because you're going to have some trolls. You're going to have some people who are police lovers, and even though they're abusing their authority and they see it for themselves, they still try to make some sort of logical explanation in their actions, in their behaviors, rather than just coming out saying, you know what, you dead ass wrong, and holding them accountable. But, hey, what can you say? Everyone in the world does not really and truly want to be free. A lot of people are just complacent with being a follower, not educating themselves. It seems like the only time folks really want to educate themselves is when they are trying to acquire a degree for some sort of career path that they are moving in. But as far as educating yourself just off the muscle, it's like, no, people don't want to do that. People really and truly don't want to do that. But me, I'm here and I'm willing to give people the necessary insight and understanding that they need. You feel that I'm wrong for that? Guess what? You can stop watching. You can stop watching. But it's not going to stop me from doing what I feel needs to be done. You feel, some people feel like I'm being biased towards police officers. It's like, well, that's your assumption. As I stated before, you have good cops. They must be hiding, or they must be here in the city that I'm in. But then you have some dirty cops, and you have a lot of them. So, in the meantime, in between time, I will catch up with you all later. Feel free to leave your comments below. And till next time, stay in love. All right, peace.